Okay, so now to finish this up, I'm going to move on to the next. Well, not finish it up, but move on to the next part. So you can see I have gone across. I snapped that line at 80 inches, which is the height that I'm going to go ahead and set all of my doors and windows to. I've done everything in terms of uh, trimming. That the things that ought to be trimmed. I forgot to go ahead and update a couple of these um, layers, so no sweat. I can do this kind of stuff on my own time, but since I saw it right now, I'll just catch it. But anyhow, so everything's coordinated now. Okay, um, the only thing that's sticking through the concrete are the lines that define the end of the walls. Okay, and now we got to figure out a way to fatten this stuff out. Now, if I look back here, I'm going to do what at least was explained to me as a skeleton elevation. Okay, it shows the bare essentials. Doesn't have blocks. I put a couple blocks on here because I built these in place. This would be the side profile of a skylight, and there's one other right here, different skylight. So um, anyhow, I built that one in place, but this is the one where it's starting to really pop, and this is where I started taking blocks, vents, lattices, columns, things like that, a trellis over the door, some custom garage doors, carriage garage doors, those types of things. But this is where I really do my figuring out. Okay, so taking this floor plan from here and turning it to here. The reason that any roof plan I would have done from the top, at least to get myself started, will change is because I haven't figured out my roof pitches yet. Okay, but if you look at this right now, any of these windows, right? They're detailed and they have trim, and different windows have different types of trim. And this house right here would be a sided house. It could be a brick house. I thought about maybe brick in this portion, and maybe in the garage in this lower portion, and then like siding up here, and maybe some shakes up here or something. But um, we don't need that right now. All we need is this. Sometimes even on a plan, you this the contractor might get this, but then they might get a simpler version where it just says Oxford brick right here, and then it says 7-inch siding reveal right here, and then it says 7-inch wood shake reveal right here. So, they don't need all of that. All they need to know is where the center of the window is, where the edges of the windows are, what's the length of the wall, etc. But most of the building happens off of this floor plan. Okay. So I've got a really pretty nice blocks file. It's not the I've had bigger blocks files, but this one is very comprehensive and it works pretty good. And the first thing you would think about is what kind of window heights and what kind of window style you're going to have. I'm just using this for the most part to go ahead and determine what kind of height can I deal with? And again, window heights are going to change, right? So I have in this case, I have a window over my kitchen sink, and that window is definitely not going to be a 5-foot window. So one thing you might do is just come over to a blocks file and look somewhere over here. I kind of boxed them in. I say, okay, every one of these is a 5-foot window. And I know for a fact on this house, I have a 305-foot window. So I'm going to clipboard this, and I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to take it over to this file. And what I'm curious to see is, what does that look like? I know this isn't the exact window size, but how do 5-foot windows look on this floor plan? I think they look nice. Bring a 4-foot window over, copy it. Okay. So I think a 5-foot window looks fine. I might go back here to blocks. I could have done this easily at the same time and said, okay, in this case, I want that was a casement window, but maybe like a 4-foot double hung. Maybe we use an arch top double hung, and I'm going to go ahead and copy this with the base point. Okay. And I'm going to go back. Oops, did I do clipboard or copy, or did I do? I can't remember here. So try this. clipboard, copy with base point, and come back over here. I didn't pick a base point. Should have done this before I started recording. Clipboard, copy with base point. There's my base point. And come back over here, and I'll go clipboard, paste. Okay. So this is another way you might do it and say, well, what if I put in a 4-foot window? You might, okay, does a 4-foot look better? In fact, I actually kind of think a 4-foot window looks better on this elevation. Okay. So I'm going to stick with 4s. All right. Which means that I need to go ahead and do a little bit of, need to do the same thing as project a horizontal line over. And the way I'll do that is I'll just offset 48. So I'll come down this way, and I'm going to extend this line. I'm going to go way out. I'm going to extend it all the way over because that's the last window I have. And I'll select it, and it's extended over. Okay. So now all I have to do is just trim my way, trim everything that's under it, trim everything that's not between the windows, trim, trim, trim. I guess I could come back and erase these if I wanted to. Just as easy to kind of cruise along since I'm just working left to right. And this one is going to be a little different because it is a side light. So this is completely ignored, right? This window is part of the door system and goes all the way down as far as the door does, okay? So trim, trim. And we're almost there. Trim that. Nothing goes under there. Trim here, trim here, trim here, trim here. And I'll just trim this, and I'm left with one line to erase. Goodbye. All right, so now I've defined all my windows. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to join all my windows. And the reason I'm going to do this is because I'm going to offset them outward. So what I'm doing now is I'm making the trim just like I have in this. I always start with 3. Most of these windows are 2. I don't know why I do it with 3. I've always done it that way. So I just select here and I go offset 3. And I'm going to click from the window itself. So this current size is the actual size of the window. I'm going to click here and go to the outside. Click to the outside. And while you're doing it, you can also click your walls. Click the edge of the wall, go to the inside. Edge of the wall, go to the inside. Definitely not the outside, or you'll mess up the whole dimensions of your thing. If I had joined my doors, then that would have helped first. That goes to the inside. I'm going to forget about this one right now because, again, that's a special kind of circumstance. And I'll click here, and I'll click here. And got a couple more to do. Just edge of this wall, inward. Edge of this, outward. Edge of this, outward. Inward. Inward. Okay. Inward again. Inward again. Outward. Inward. Okay, so I've never changed. Every one of these now is still 4 feet from inside to inside. All these windows are accurately sized right now. I know there's one that's going to have to change, and that is the one that is above my kitchen sink. Also, I think I have a window on this floor plan that is above possibly above my toilet. This one is also going to have to change, as well as this one above the washer and dryer. So those windows will change. And the other thing I got to look back at is this window is a transom up above the bed. So I want to go ahead and make sure. I know that I don't have any of those issues on the front of the house. So I want to go ahead and just bookmark that to myself. So I'm going to draw a big line through these so I can remember what I'm dealing with. Okay. And then I have to go back and make some fixes.